One.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mass Connection.
I'm Dubs Glass.
And this is Seriously Stoned.
Today's guests, we got Kaya Gardening.
What's up?
And Alana.
Alena.
And
a Smokey.
Mm-hmm. And a Smokey.
Yeah.
Do you have an IG?
I do. That is it. It is...
Spell it for the crowd.
I'll spell it for the crowd. ESMOHQUI. And when I first got my Instagram, I wanted to do something with Smokey, and of course they're very taken.
Very taken, yeah.
Exactly. So when I was growing up, my mom used to translate. My family's Cuban, and my mom used to translate for my grandmother so that she could sound like she had an English accent when she was reading something in Spanish. So she had sort of basics to answer the phone. So she would sound them out to spell them out. So the way that a Smokey is written out is how Smokey would sound if you were trying to sound it out. And that's what the H is in there for like a long O and all that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, hell yeah.
Little family story.
Complex.
I like it. Hey, no, I'm cool with that.
So, what are you all about? What are we talking about today?
We wanted to come and have a conversation about what's going on with all these conversations around equity.
Yep.
And
Very important.
Indeed. And how people are thinking about, what it has meant in this era of legalization, regulation, and where do things fit together. It sounds right now, if you are listening to the media, if you're talking with friends, it sounds like maybe it's out of reach, or maybe you're thinking you're not quite sure what the paths are, even though you know that if you maybe had a few pieces together, you could get from point A to point B. Or maybe you've been in some of those rooms and you kind of already tried to do a little investigating, and
it's overwhelming.
The connections seemed like it was just, it was too much.
Yeah.
It was too much, and where to start.
Yep.
And I think that's always the hardest thing.
It definitely doesn't seem easy. Mm-hmm. As of right now, I actually think today, Pure Oasis was the first social economic applicant to have a store open, correct?
They're the first economic empowerment to open, and in Boston.
Yeah,
Dorchester.
perfect. Yeah.
So it's just huge.
Props.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Pure Oasis.
Absolutely.
That's living the dream.
Finally, a dispensary we could probably support.
Where are they at?
Dorchester.
Dorchester. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to take a ride out, check them out.
Yeah, for sure.
And there are people out there that, as the licensing is starting, the process is speeding up a little bit. There are going to be more folks that we can definitely support, who we know, were there at the beginning and signed up for economic empowerment, and make sure that we're making the connections with them and being selective about where we use our dollars in the regulated market if we choose to go there.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And now, just for everyone who's not familiar, maybe they're not in Massachusetts or whatever, what is equity? How would you define equity?
Sure. So equity is one of those words that can be used in a lot of different contexts. So in terms of understanding it, I'm going to ground it specifically in Massachusetts, and then we'll make the connections from there. So in order to be someone who qualifies as a social equity applicant, you have to meet one of three criteria. You either can reside in what the state has deemed an area of disproportionate impact. So that means that there was a disproportionate number of marijuana charges and arrests that were taking place in those neighborhoods or in those cities, and that varies. There's actually a list that's located
So you don't even
online.
have to be affected by it. You just have to have lived in that area.
Take notes.
Or live in.
X amount of time that you need to be a resident?
You need to be a resident for at least 12 months or 5 of the last 10 years, depending on the kind of program that you're applying for. So a lot of folks, also, that doesn't need to be consecutive. Your connection to the community, you can talk about that and connect it to the time period. So that's one of those pieces. I think, again, you don't need to be, you can just be someone who resides in an area where you know that this has taken place. And that's available. We'll talk about some information, maybe leaving some websites so that people can follow up and take a peek at these applications themselves. Yeah. But the first criteria is the area of residing in an area of disproportionate impact, my bad. Then the second is if you yourself have had a marijuana charge in the state of Massachusetts, or one that would be deemed a marijuana charge in another area.
It doesn't have to be a conviction.
Exactly. And that's what people need to understand.
That's a mistake people make. And myself, I made that.
So as long as you've gotten tied up over the shit.
What I always suggest for folks is don't decide for yourself that you are already excluded. Because the whole point of this exactly is to connect with more people, not fewer people. So even, let's say, for example, you think you're on the cusp of a definition and you're not quite sure. Someone has thought about the fact that exists, that you're someone out there who might not fit one of these criteria. There may be another pathway for you to connect. And the only way to find out is to actually just start talking about it, start having some conversation. So I always just say, don't count yourself out, but just know like just the basics, and then see how you relate to those basics.
Yep. I know for one, I don't qualify for any of them. I looked at the list and I'm like, yep, nope. Well, guess I'm out of luck.
Get out the magnifying glass. Well, maybe.
Am I in the fine print? Darn it.
And then the last criteria is if your parent or if your parents or if you're the child of or the spouse of someone with a marijuana charge or conviction.
Oh.
So families, a lot of times we don't think about that, especially as we think more broadly about the impact of the war on drugs. We don't think about our family.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not related to any members of law enforcement.
He looks like
my dad does look like a cop, though. It's so funny. Yeah, he looks like the cop in Super Troopers that does the meow game with the kids. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie.
I am not.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
It's an American classic.
Okay.
It's an American classic. Yeah, you gotta watch it.
You got it.
It's up there with.
For you.
It's one of the cannabis movies.
And your company, you help people, you consult people on this process, right?
Right. So really, what this was like born of was. In a budding industry, a lot of people have a lot of different skill sets they can bring to the table. And it's like, well, how do you find your own connection? And we all have to take that journey. All of us have to take that journey. If you know that your passion and your heart is in the community, is in the plant, is in the policy making, is in the entrepreneurial mindset, whatever it is that's bringing you to the table. If you know that you have that, that's really like the beginning of exploring how you might connect. So for me, I spent 20 years in higher education. And what I did was working with people. I will back up to say, I was a first-generation college student, Latina, coming from Miami, Florida, to the middle of Iowa to go to school.
It's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you. And all of that, to me, always was, when I was getting ready to graduate, what am I going to do with this? And I wanted to help people who were taking on that journey, who may not have been prepared in traditional ways, but who had a lot to offer and leadership to bring to those environments. And that's just been a journey that since day one, that's where I started it. And for me, when I decided to walk away from that life, it was connected to wanting to continue to work on those issues and where was my heart and following my heart and where the issues were popping up. And I just looked at this, it was just exactly the same thing. We're all watching this super selective environment that's, essentially like an endowment or a selective college application, and you look at that and you see a sticker price and you see the application and you see what you've got or what you think you've got relative to the people who are applying to all of that. And you're like, okay, how does that relate to me?
I got a penny and they got a fucking dollar, a couple dollars.
How are you going to get like? Is it something even in reach? And I see the parallel to this. We're all seeing millions of dollars going into the industry as it's being built now. We've seen it obviously from states prior to Massachusetts. So understanding like the kind of money that's at the table and the stakes for people on all sides of the deal, right? So whether you were hoping and waiting and you're a landlord waiting out there, or you were hoping that you could get into a community where you can maybe make a good faith partnership with a host community agreement. There's all different ways that you could come to that. But all of this to say that all of these processes can be really intimidating. And for me, I came to feel and I came to find myself feeling safe and feeling a sense of true community when I walked away from all of this in higher education, and I was dealing with my own personal grief and what it meant from a career position, but really over like the loss of someone very important in my family. And I didn't really know what all that transition was, but what I knew is that there was a time period that it was really hard to just get up every day. And the one thing that I got up every day to do was to go to my Tuesday ladies community to sesh and just feel safe, feel like you could talk about what was going on, feel like even if you just needed to sit there and smoke, it was
someone
fine.
There, yeah.
It was just someone there.
It's so much more than just smoking pot.
Exactly. There's the values of community and acceptance. Nobody was like, well, what the fuck have you done this week? It was like, no. Hey, how are you?
Yeah,
Let's
no, I
just
mean
pull up
these two sit at this table and like literally like my brothers, and our initial connection was cannabis. It's fucking
Most definitely
powerful. Yeah.
And so that really, what to me then brought me and got me more connected to wanting to be more involved. And obviously, we kind of miss it now from a community perspective, but the sesh from the place of the person on the side of the table that was attending, that wasn't there for necessarily the vending, was there for the community as well.
Yeah, the interaction.
That's right. Even if you were like helping run the event, you were part of that, right? If you were helping set up the event, if you were helping someone at a table, if you were coming with a friend, if you were the ride, whatever it was, there was a sense of a unifying moment. Even as complicated as anything could be, those were what I look at now as like authentic, sacred spaces. And having experienced that, and then still thinking, okay, so I've got all this, and I've gotten to a better place in terms of how I can see the connections between the two. How do we bring this forward? So what I found myself was going to these meetings that were very formal, and kind of like my old world. Yeah. And then I was still chilling, and it was the legacy space and the legacy culture space, whether that be through sessions or what we're sitting doing here, And this is where my heart is, and what I used to live was a separate life.
There's a massive disconnect, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I used to live it personally, and I'm watching it like an industry, and I want to be able to, and what our work is here to do is to make a bridge between that. We know what both sides look like. We want to bring it together.
It's definitely tough, how to act, how to write out formal, just even an email, just structuring an email correctly. Those are skills that weren't necessarily taught in a traditional school or anything like that. So unless you went to business school, you're probably dead in the water looking.
Let's be realistic. Anybody who desires on a level that's dreamed about being in the cannabis market,
they were dreaming about growing weed instead of doing the work. Yeah, no, it's the fucking.
They had their hustle other than school, and to have somebody that in the community.
I mean, I still send shit over to Colin to proofread all the time because I suck at putting together sentences. He puts together all the descriptions for the podcast because I can't do it.
Right. And that's great that you have that partnership. And there's some people that don't have that.
You gotta have a solid person. You gotta have a solid.
And
that's gonna prove a huge value for your clients because even as well spoken as I can be, I still find myself struggling with a lot of the formal things when it comes to doing anything legitimately, whether it's the clothing company we're trying to open up, whether it's the t-shirt business I specifically run with my wife, all these different ventures, the consulting business, they're all real world, and it's not hustling. It ain't hustling. It's different.
Times have changed.
You need you need a solid, what I call office person in your corner. So that's definitely a sick value. Oh yeah.
So it was interesting, I think that one of the things that I experienced, being in this space, is thinking about even how it is that we have the skill set that we're bringing to the table, whoever we are, right? So there's already something that's connected around. This is the broader definition of equity in cannabis, and really to me, what the impact of the war on drugs is that we're actually have the opportunity to address head on, literally in daily actions that we're taking, building past prohibition right now. When we think about that impact, think about how schooling plays out. If you're ever caught with a joint and you're in high school, what's that going to do for you in terms of your academics? Right away, you're not going to be able to. If you're caught in college and you are charged for marijuana, you're not going to be able to apply to be a lawyer. You could be brilliant. You could have everything it takes. You could even have above and beyond. You could be 150% of every other applicant. The end. That opportunity has been foreclosed.
I had my locker searched in high school a couple times.
So
can't catch me slipping.
8th grade.
I just always smelled like it. I was always stoned, so I just.
It started young for me. 8th grade, they were searching me.
The first time they searched my locker, it wasn't even my fault. No bullshit. The girl that's my sister, I stole her boyfriend's jacket. It was this big gangster puffy jacket. And he blazed all the time. No, it was one of those big puffy ones. And I went to school rocking this shit. And it was in my locker, and all of a sudden I get called down to the office, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to come down here." And it was the jacket's sitting on the table. I was like, "Damn."
So are you working together? You guys
we are.
Together?
And so that's actually the whole point, right? So one of these things, second part of the equity conversation, I went to this investors meeting, fancy, pricey, and was listening to people talk about the multi-state operators talking about the illicit market. And all they kept talking about, the drug dealer, the drug dealer, the drug dealer. You're selling weed in 5 states, but the drug dealer. And so one of the things that one of them said was, my daughter will, go to Whole Foods because she knows exactly where her chicken breast ever came from and wherever whatever she was growing came from. But then she'll turn around and go buy weed from a dealer. And this was almost like there was an understanding of what he was saying in the audience I was sitting in. And I thought to myself, this is the level of disconnect. The whole point of going to the person is because you actually do know.
Because you trust them.
Absolutely. That the basis of the trust and the relationship between caregiver and patient is basically what he was putting at the table, but with a complete lack of knowledge and a stereotype of someone who was trying to harm people. Mm-hmm. And so you've got people who are looking in at the industry and saying, okay, I know that I can bring something to it. And then people who are sitting over here thinking, I don't even know. I mean, how am I going to convince people? Well, maybe if you talk to someone over here for a second, maybe you could do it and they could accomplish what they want and you could accomplish what you want. Because if there's one thing that is not lacking in this industry is money. There is room to grow a pie. Yeah. We should not be fighting over crumbs. We haven't even finished baking the pie. We're barely getting started in Massachusetts,
I definitely agree with that. And I've always thought that without the money, the talent is nothing. And without the talent, the money is nothing. So True. If you're not all going to just work together and just split that coin, then you've already lost, in my opinion. And that's tough to get. I mean, you go to these things and it's in my opinion, a very specific type of person who can see the value in the knowledge that people who have been in this since before legalization, since before medical really bring to the table.
110%.
It's a special type of person to see that. A lot of investors don't. They're like, oh, well, I'm rich and you're the freaking pot grower.
They think they could just throw money at someone, pay them $50K a year, and they're going to grow the best pot for them.
Again,
they're not. They're going to get someone that says they can grow.
Bridging the gaps.
Newsflash: if they're growing the best pot, they're definitely making more than $50,000 a year.
That's wise advice.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's think about the investor. Think about the investor. There was one. There was a group of investors, and one of them who actually had the whatever to tell everybody else. Yes, if you don't have legacy knowledge and the institutional business knowledge, you're going to be missing. And so, this is one of those things where we can watch this, and it's like a dual consciousness, right? So what it takes to accomplish what they're talking about accomplishing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So why aren't we talking about that? We need to have that information, and there's different ways to connect. And this is another thing I will sort of add to this. While I think the entrepreneurial side is phenomenal, there are 3 million ways to be involved in the cannabis industry.
100%.
Ancillary industry.
Absolutely. There are 3 million ways. And we need to not think about
tunnel vision.
Yes. It's if we're the retail shop, then everything's great. Or if we have that grow facility, it's great. That's it. That may be true for some people. And absolutely, this is not about
it's the big picture.
That's exactly right.
You need them all. You need everything.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, vertically integrated definitely seems to be the route to go for long-term success.
Well, and that's an interesting conversation, right, around vertical integration, right? Because obviously, if you can, your seed to sale yourself, there's a huge advantage in that. And then we need to, if we think about what Massachusetts did to try and not only value large-scale vertically integrated operations, right? So if you go to Florida, for example, right now, about 8 companies that are licensed, and they all are required to be vertically integrated. So right off the bat, you can imagine.
Yep.
Each one has 35 retail licenses attached to each one as a part of what they get.
Come shop.
License.
35.
Yes.
Per license.
So if you go now and you go and look at True Leaf, which is actually going to be here and is part of setting up shop here in Western Mass.
Really?
Take a peek. First of all, it's really interesting. Their CEO is a woman and one of the few women in a multi-state operator role. So really interesting story in terms of leadership and how they build community.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
But what's interesting for them is they've taken almost 50% of the Florida market.
Oh, wow.
And everybody has the same tools, and they're coming here right now, right? And so we're going to have an opportunity. So when we think about that, right, what a vertically integrated operator could be,
is an investor.
We need to look at look at what they're out there setting up, and think about the community impact. So like people haven't talked about this, but so what difference does it make, for example, that they've just purchased a big facility in Holyoke to set up as a cultivation facility? They've promised the community 200 to 300 jobs.
Yep.
And people aren't talking. Those are 200 to 300 jobs that are all going to be directly connected to the passion for the plant in some way. Some way. Think about what it takes to run a facility out of and even just the building out of that facility, and everything's going to happen sort of between point A and point B of it opening up.
And
absolutely
licensing to the towns for building permits and stuff.
Exactly. From security, construction, there's so many different ways. So, like I said, don't foreclose what the opportunity might be. Because maybe you really know how to build out a space and you have some real insight into how to design that, and may have nothing to do with touching the plant per se in the regulated space, but you might have a really good insight that might help shape how that great grow, takes off. You don't know, and you don't know until you really just kind of allow yourself to have that dream, which is kind of a hard thing. It feels risky, but if you can open the door, what we're working on is creating a safe place to just have the conversation without someone that you have to prepare for and think about. Just literally, you can come with your heart and your dream, and we will sit and talk with you about it. And we will lay that out with you. We want to sesh with you. We want to talk with you. We want to meet you where you're at and see what the best path forward can be.
That's definitely great. I definitely, again, see a massive value in that, because the minute you say, I want to get into the cannabis industry, there's a million questions and a million reasons why it's hard, it's not going to work out. And that alone, if you're not strong enough mentally to be like, yo, these people might be saying I'm going to suck real bad at this, but I'm at least going to give it a go with my all. That's really hard to do if you don't have the mental strength to do that. So to have a spot with someone who has knowledge to get you there as well, to then come into that realization that you do want to get involved, massive. That's huge.
We've all been told no in life.
Shit, yeah, but some people just hear that and go, okay, and fold up the shop and fucking head home.
No. Not happening.
Luckily, not us. That's awesome. Now, are you guys located anywhere right now? I think you guys are working on finding a central location, so you're traveling.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we're working on different spaces, and for now, really, there's a couple of good spots we could definitely meet up.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Definitely safe spots.
Because you're working with an incubator with Kaya almost to kind of do the transition.
Surprise.
That's exactly right. So he and I started talking. There's a lot of there's a good history to it, but really realizing the way to actually make that impact is to actually we have to live the bridge so that we can actually. You can teach it. You can't teach what you can't do, right? Yep. So let's just be real and let's actually we figured it out. We know the things that we are working on, the synergies, the way that we approach things and the way that we are approaching projects, and we feel like that's an asset that we could bring. And really, wherever you want to start with us, we feel like having multiple voices is real. Multiple voices and multiple ways to get connected, however you're comfortable. We all have how our styles, how our preferences, who we already know, where our connections are, and we want to help broaden that. You don't have to be just connect in one way or with one person.
I was just going to say that's also going to help build a network too, a network of individuals that are all trying to do the same thing.
Geared towards that's
trying to make it happen the right way with the right
support system. It's having a support system.
Massive.
It's something that a lot of people may take for granted, and we have a support system within our group of friends that really pushes us to.
It's powerful.
It's very powerful.
If you have it.
What we're trying to do is create that for everybody else.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm with that.
And it's I don't know, when you look around at sort of where you can start, it's even if you think, I'm going to reach out for the lawyer, the accountant, the advisor, the coach, there's just a lot out there. And sometimes what we forget is that we don't have to invent the wheel. So there is enough out there where we can really be guided and trust the process a little bit.
Yep.
And really just opening the door for just taking like those first baby steps and seeing, just trust it, like you can trust the process and creating like a space to do that without it being, a commitment to like a retainer with a lawyer or all this. Well, maybe just have a conversation.
It gets really intense really quick.
Absolutely.
And
It's intimidating and
expensive.
pricey.
Overwhelming. I mean, once
That's
you
it.
start putting down the numbers, just for a dream, like, I mean,
You're in a 50 grand right off rip. Minimum.
but it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't. If you get lucky.
Well, no, you just need guidance.
Guidance. I like it.
Yeah, there's not many people out here actually like walking people through the process
That's
of the
the tough
social
part.
equity, and especially not for free. Well, not for free, I should say, but not for like a lawyer's fees. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's like the whole thing is to
Affordable.
There you go.
I mean, they got a quality lawyer. You're looking at $500 plus
Wild
an
money.
hour just to
Just to
sit
say,
down.
hey, what's up? What's
know.
going on? What do I need to do? You can have the same conversation with someone that's not a lawyer but still knows more probably on the subject than the lawyer does.
Well, and that's the thing, because it's like you bring in all of the skill sets. So I've spent like the last couple of years like building this up, being involved throughout the industry, not just in Massachusetts, but getting involved to really know what the landscape is, right? There are conversations beyond Massachusetts. We haven't even talked about outside the state and what's coming up next, and then some really like fun places, like just unique stories. Some stuff happening in the South and in Puerto Rico, and things that aren't even on the radar, but are already the roots there are already like they're taking in.
That's awesome.
So there's more things growing, but as we think about, I'm gonna have lost my train of thought, which is a very good stoner thing to do.
Yeah, no,
This is my
Seriously
dad,
stoned.
right?
It
Yeah.
happens. You know what I find
Honestly,
the best thing to do when that happens is take a dab.
Oh, I knew you were gonna
Yeah,
say
do it.
that.
I think there's always a point at some point during every podcast where one of the guests says, "Oh shit, I think I forgot where I was at." I think
Yeah.
that
Like
might just have to be
document
a
those
goal.
out.
But I guess we're kind of at that time too where we'll shout out Steve, shout out SF Glass.
What up,
baby?
buddy?
Love you,
home.
brother.
Living
He's
life.
home, chilling.
Two-wheeling.
Getting adjusted to life back at home. Glad
Four-wheeling.
you're fucking home. Shit, man. Love you, handsome.
You guys got any? Oh yeah, we got the sweet pink grapefruit cup.
Yeah, that's a sick contest. Tell us about it. Let's
Well-
hear it.
It's something that me and Kai have been working on. We got.
We've been talking. It's been in the works for quite some time.
We're going to
and,
be doing a strain-specific competition. There's a lot of great growers on the East Coast that Kaya has beaten with this strain, unfortunately, and some of them are sour, some of them are not. And there's some
Don't
growers
look
that
at me, man.
some growers that we don't even know of that are interested in this competition, and it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to show. The competition is going to set growers apart based off of their skills, not the strain that they're growing.
right. And
They're all going to have the same starting off point. They're all going to have.
Yeah, tell us about
well,
get into the details.
what I like about it is, like he said, everybody has that same starting point. It's not like, oh, well, he had this.
What do you start with?
Start with the clone from the same mother.
So
Sweet
what-
pink grapefruit.
Sweet pink grapefruit.
Sweet pink
Boom,
grapefruit.
you get a clone of sweet pink grapefruit.
You get 4 clones.
You get 4 clones. You can do whatever you want.
Whatever. And that's another thing.
They're yours. You're
It's
buying.
been a sought after clone. We know
Yeah,
this.
no,
And-
it's
and
a high award winner. It's got what? How
I've
many
been-
shelves?
It's got a good amount. I've been selfish with it, right? There's some people that have it, whatever. But what we want to do is a chance to give it to everybody, to give people a platform to breed with, because she is a great breeder. I mean,
That creme cream is something else,
the
man.
watermelon. I mean,
Banging.
So I mean, the watermelon had what 30% terpene in the BHO or whatever, 30%.
It's wild.
And it's definitely like a series that we're going to be working towards. I think we're going to do one once a year.
Once a
because
year.
It's a long process. We're going to do 2 months for the registration, and then we're going to give the growers 6 months to veg, grow, and either cure or extract.
Trim, cure,
all three.
extract.
All 3. It's the same fee for to enter, and you get
1 or 3 or none.
Or you don't even have to enter the competition. You can just take your cuts and go
Run.
and grow them. And
We want you to enter because it's going to be
Of
fun.
course, yeah, it makes for a fun time.
But
How many
we want to see who the best grower is. I mean, at the end of the day,
how many entries are you anticipating?
can somebody? Right now, I think we're up to almost 8.
8
Oh wow,
to 12 from
It's
what
getting-
people have told me, and people
Nice.
talk, but
that's awesome.
we need to get it together, and
Sweet,
I'm excited to see who comes.
that'll be great. And now, so you grow it, you extract it, you enter it. What's it culminate in? A party, a prize pack?
We're gonna have a party, catered meal.
catered meal.
Sick.
Our entry is gonna get
Our parties are pretty epic.
Always dope.
pretty fucking sweet.
Always
So we don't lack luster on any of that. Most of the money is gonna. So 10% of the fees that are coming in are going back to a prize pool for the growers and the extractors. So
Sick.
The overall. So best
no,
bet
there's 3 categories. There's flour.
33%.
Yes. So 33% of that 10% prize pool is going to get split between the 3 winners of each category. So there's flour, solvent, and solventless. So each winner will get a third of that prize, that 10% prize pool.
That's some money on the table.
And then
That's fucking
there's gonna be
exciting.
an overall, like if you enter all 3 competitions, and say you win first, second, and first, and the other person gets 2 seconds and a first, you're the overall winner, and there's a belt and a rig that goes along with that.
Nice. Rig
Shout out to
by
Whitetail Glass.
Whitetail,
Whitetail.
dude,
Stepping
fire,
up.
killing it. Look at that. That thing's
I'm
dope.
gonna be providing the belt.
Hold that up for the camera. Give it a hold in the middle of the shit.
Yeah,
It's
like
a little
sweet
dirty,
little
He's killing it.
little Robin egg
Fucking badass.
recycler rig. These things are fucking dope as fuck.
Hit up Whitetail.
He's really coming into his own style. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, love watching it.
Yeah, it's dope.
He's
and he's a
actually-
good kid too to match
Excellent,
it. So it's
excellent guy. Gives back to the community all the time.
Yo, he's always like, hey, you need something to give away, you need something to throw to Miss Sweeten a raffle, you need something to do it. Badass, man.
So-
Shout out Whitetail.
On top of that, the judging, we're not selling any judges kits. Which
That's
is a
another
different-
thing we differ from anybody else because it's
It's not about the money.
no. We
well,
want to see who we want to give the people the chance.
And you want the right judges in place.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Sweet Pink Grapefruit's a killer fucking sativa. So if you're going to apply to be a judge, make sure you can hold on to your shit after smoking bone
I
after
will
bone and
definitely
dab
not
after
be a
dab
judge
of
'cause I won't
sativa.
smoke it. I'm not a tangent.
Buckle up, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Handle it.
You already
But
know
there
I
is an
want
interview
him.
process for the judging as well. So it's gonna be,
I'm not competing.
When can I schedule my interview? Can we do it right now?
You're not interview ready.
No.
All right.
We need an essay from you.
You let me know. I'll write you an essay.
2-page,
Okay.
front and back.
Oh shit.
And
Double-
Kaya is
double
not
space.
competing, so
You're not gonna get your ass whooped.
he is also
No,
not
it's
going
not
to be
even about
judging.
that.
He's not even going to be judging. His wonderful girlfriend Jackie is going to be a judge because she knows the Sweet Pink Grapefruit out better than anybody else. Whether how it tastes, how it smokes, how it looks.
I think
Jackie knows.
Jackie knows the ins and outs of that
Jackie
part. So
knows.
she is definitely a judge, and that's going to be the only judge that anybody knows from here on out, because we know she can't be bought. Our judges, once
Yeah, you're
we
gonna do,
select
like,
them, we're gonna have
confidential.
backup judges too. So like if somebody starts talking that they're a judge for our competition, well, guess what? Now you're not. So we're gonna kick you out, and we're gonna have a replacement judge. to back you
Sick.
up.
Super confidential.
definitely everybody promote it because listen, home grower to,
Our growers are gonna get 4 tickets to come in, and then it's $10 for anybody else that wants to come in and
just hang out.
partake in the party.
We're gonna have a dab bar,
Sweet.
flower bar.
That's
like
fucking
it's
awesome.
bring your rig,
Yeah,
roll your own joints.
We don't want to pass coronavirus. Or
No coronavirus.
So we're talking. So it's 4 months for intake, 6 months for the. So we're talking.
May 15th is the registration. That's the day that we're gonna do.
You
clone
need
pickup.
to email us.
You have to be paid by that day.
Right.
So a week prior to that, you have to have at least your deposit in, and that way we
$100
have-
deposit. That's so we
So
can
the
take
15th is
clones.
clone pickup day. So we have enough clones for the for the competitors.
Sweet.
So on the 15th, when they come to pick up their They each have clones that are all the same.
Bring
height.
your preferred medium because they're going
bring-
to come in the easy cloner, or whatever.
And
It's
if you
gonna
don't
be a
bring
rooted
one,
clone. You're getting
Pro mix in a solo cup.
Yo, send it.
But we
I've
want to.
seen some sick weed come out of Pro Mix.
No, hey, listen. We just want to give everybody the
Their option.
best opportunity from the beginning. We don't want excuses. We don't want to listen to people. Why?
Oh, I had to take clones and put it in my shit. And
Yeah,
no, bring
everybody-
your preferred medium.
Listen.
Heard it.
You kill your clones,
They're on you.
they're on you. Like
They come healthy. Believe me, I know, because I
me
have a
too.
garden full of them.
Me too. Yeah, my head garden is
Not sweet pink grapefruit because I won't smoke that shit.
No,
Actually, no. You know what? There is one sweet pink grapefruit in my fucking
You're such
garden.
a bastard, bro.
He fucking
I
snuck one
didn't
in.
know anything.
The cup said sweet pink grapefruit. He goes, no, it's mislabeled. Just grow it.
Just grow it.
It's growing. You guys, dude, I think
And then
it's
you
sweet pink
will-
grapefruit.
I believed him.
I mean,
Asshole.
Hey,
But no, it's gonna be a fun ass competition, strain specific. This is gonna eliminate, all the.
It's
this
game
will-
changing.
This will make it so that if you're a good grower and you've won competition, this isn't gonna make your strain set it apart. This is just your growing techniques because sweet pink grapefruit. There's been a lot of people that have tried it and it comes out very differently.
Like Tangy.
she's a picky bitch.
She is a very picky bitch.
She is a picky bitch. She stresses easy. It's a tough strain to.
It's gonna test your game.
It's
It's
gonna
like
test your game.
expert level growing status.
But don't be intimidated by that, people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had her for so long.
You've seen it do everything.
Everything. So long. I mean, when you get it and you dial her in, she's beautiful. You've seen her. I mean,
Yeah.
the pinks, the purples.
Wild.
It's definitely visually stimulating strain to grow towards the end.
I remember like sweet pink grapefruit before it was popular.
That's
Wow.
our ride days.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
Fucking shout out to those dudes.
Started it
Such
off
a-
for a lot of people. Gave a
OG
lot of
shit.
people.
Those
You know what it
drug
was? It
dealers.
gave a lot of people the dream. It enabled a dream,
Oh, yeah.
a beginning for a lot of people, and a lot of people that have helped the industry. A lot of people have been helped by those individuals at Sesh RI. Like,
Hell yeah,
not just
platform for
cannabis
people to succeed.
It was, but even how they gave back. It was a platform.
Massive.
Just
That was my
it
favorite part.
Platform how to build the community, and they definitely
Knocked it out of the
killed
park.
it for the East Coast.
And it'll never be anything like that ever again.
Never,
And there never was.
never.
When
a
Sesh
lot of-
RI died, there was never anything like that.
and there
again.
was a lot of imitations and a lot of dreams. And listen, I had dreams for places like that, but
nothing to compare.
often
glory
imitated,
days.
never duplicated.
Damn right.
It was
It's cool to say we had,
It was
a
no
piece.
greed. It was earned. It was
Yeah.
earned. To get your place there, it was earned.
Yeah, you definitely had to have the respect.
You couldn't pay somebody off.
No. Yeah, it was
Oh, you mean like a
quality or
Grandma
get
oil?
the fuck out.
So but that was the
Shout
beginning
out
to
to
the whole
boys.
legacy, and
Well, it's just
takes
not
us to where we are now, and to this beginning with
The market knowledge is
circle.
valuable. So valuable.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Know your market. Know how to.
and the thing is to that message that needs to be heard, and I think obviously part of it there are people who are like this, but we're also not communicating it in the same way, and I think this is one of the things that in terms of organizing on the other side, just like we all of the companies that put up their 21 plus when you go to their website, right? And they do that not because anyone said so, but because it's a good idea. That's going to be something important. And that's like a good faith measure by everyone, like in a particular industry, right? So there's a sense that there's something that you can decide as a group and that you can all subscribe to as ethics and professional ethics. And this is one of those things that I think that there are values that are specific to the legacy culture in all of its forms and incarnations. And that if we can call those out, those are the things that then we can identify as this is what this is about. And here are the parts about it that maybe aren't successful and we know are its downfalls. But here are the parts of it that aren't. And here are the parts of it that we know need to be able to continue to survive. And frankly, if things are ever going to really, if there's ever going to be a real closing of the gap for everyone to be able to participate in a regulated space, they're going to need to be addressed, period. Someday, it's just going to have to be, period. And I think that is just even just having conversations about that, what would that even be? What would we say if we had to not what we feel, but what we think, what would we say? These are the key parts of the legacy culture. What if we had to put down just principles so that we don't lose that as we go forward?
It's
so
history.
that we can identify that. And that people can actually, when they say, we've got people who are open to integrating the two, because there are a lot of people in the space who are, and oftentimes they don't know how, right? So what are we doing on our side, right? What are we doing so that we can meet people too? And that's not changing who we are. That's identifying the things that like people hold precious. That's why everyone isn't just running to a regulated space. And it's not just the dollars. Obviously, we can have a whole other conversation about like taxing and pricing and quality. That's not what I'm talking about, right? It's how we feel about the space. And that kind of connection, which all goes back to what you guys are talking about with this SRI and the ways that community was attempted. Yep. We have an opportunity to like codify that and to keep that, to shape that, and to bring that in different ways.
Yeah, I think you can get a lot more done as a team if you work all together than you can if you're trying to go at something like I said, I'm not good at putting sentences together on paper, but Colin is, and we work pretty well as a team. So
yeah, we're definitely
and
lucky.
It like goes like this,
Yeah,
and like this.
We're definitely lucky. Dom and me all the time. It's always like, hey, can you get this done? Because I'm totally stressing on it. Hey, can you get this done? Because I'm stressing on it. Boom, it's all done.
Yeah.
I was just doing that last night. It was like
teamwork's huge.
I literally walked through an email to someone involved with the commission, with someone that I helped apply for the social equity app program.
Yep.
And we were literally walking through an email, talking through it like on the phone, and taking it like baby steps, recording it so that little by little, like crafting what it just doesn't have to be a fancy email, but you have like a narrow window in which to communicate what you're trying to get across to people. And there we are. We just
teamwork
literally
makes
grind
the dream work. It really does, and it's on all levels.
Mm-hmm.
It's on all levels.
Yeah,
you can't do it all yourself. Don't think you can. You
you know what? I don't think you have to. I mean, that's the other thing in this. Like, we can all. There is room for teamwork.
For sure. I think the most successful leaders and the most successful business owners are the ones that put people in a position to do what they already do best. So what do you do best, and what can I give you to do it even better?
Exactly right.
Environment, tools, time, knowledge, what do you need? I think that is really what sets apart, a team really working together. Is everyone just doing what they do best?
I agree.
Yeah. Everybody should have a specific job, in my eyes. Concentrate on what you're good at and then do that.
It's many
because then it becomes about the relationships, right? So you make, which is what I mean. There are certain values, right? Going back to the values of the culture, like connection, acceptance. Those are right at the core, right? Whether it's from a slang way of understanding it or from that genuine relationship that is built. So bringing that to the table, that's like a principle of doing business, of networking,
I look at it like a clock, how many gears are inside a clock, and, the big gears don't move without the small gears. You need all of them to create, the clock, and that's what a business is, Keep it moving, keep it in sync. Yep.
So, any
other? Be all right there, bub?
Yeah. You're gonna die. This is Diamond Knot's beat, man. Honestly, I need a new one, but
that's looking a little scary.
Can't even find them anywhere.
J-Red Diamond Knot.
Yeah, this is like some ancient technology.
First one I ever saw was Dream Green.
You don't even need a cap, right?
No cap. It's literally like a bunch of layers. No Q-tip.
Gross.
You just, when you got it, it was blasted clean. But after... I mean, this is...
That is clean?
Literally this... All right, let's think. This is probably 2014.
Is that considered Chaz?
This is 1,000% Chaz. Doesn't even really hold heat, but I like that you can just heat it.
That's
and let
vintage
it rip,
for
basically.
sure.
Yeah, vintage. That's what we're going for.
Vintage.
Check out Fat John Lifestyle on Instagram. We got Stoned Age LLC rolling out. It's a vintage hype... Streetwear, sneakers, luxury, custom leather goods.
Style.
Fucking everything
Style.
you need.
The man himself.
Everything you need.
About
Between
time.
me and Dubs, we gonna make you look fly as fuck. So check out Stoned Age. We're trying to build a inventory right now.
They didn't dress me.
We got some pieces that we're posting up here.
We don't
and
sell
there.
Crocs here.
Camouflage.
Shout out
Camouflage Crocs.
Kitty cakes. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
I got Yeezys, and they're real comfortable. They bought me these for my birthday. I'm holding it up and stoned there and sitting there doing fucking
Just tell the
yoga.
whole story. Holding it.
Doing yoga. They bought them for me for my birthday, and honestly,
You haven't taken them off since?
I mean, 97% of the
Nice
time.
dinner here or there.
Yeah, nice dinner, you know.
Which we're overdue for, by the way.
Hey, I recommend the Sturbridge Porterhouse if you guys have a chance, because me and Gino went there the other night. You know me, I don't like good food.
Yeah, your chicken fingers and fries, motherfucker.
But this place was really good.
Hell yeah.
He likes cold Wagyu.
Yeah. It's,
Dom doesn't like anything but McDonald's. and
Cold
it's not-
Wagyu, shout out,
no,
Chop
honestly,
House.
it was literally the best steak I've had in a long time. It gives a run for Willie's. Yeah.
Let's go.
But there's no sushi. It's not a sushi.
Do you know
place,
Willie's
just,
Steakhouse in
No.
Shrewsbury? Shout out Willie's Steakhouse, Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. I don't even want to tell you all motherfuckers about it because it'll be even busier than it already is, but it's fire.
Shout out Care Factory, obviously hosting
Yes.
us here every
Shout
week.
out
Amazing
them.
the space, y'all.
They got some
really cool.
super cool events coming up this week. They got the 20th is Angela. The 20th is Angela Mazzanti, the East Meets West event, and then the 21st and 22nd is SeedCon, which is going to be crazy. So
Roll your own, bring your own rig. Don't pass the coronavirus.
yeah, let's keep conventions safe and stop.
The last thing we need is
like a
people to
serious
stereotype cannabis use leading to increase of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I mean,
In a small little town. Yeah.
oh, how bad would that be?
Oh, it'd be all over
fucking
the news.
hilarious.
No, but SeedCon's gonna be cool. It's
gonna be
and
epic.
if you all aren't familiar with SeedCon, it was basically a 30-day out solution to a seed vending issue with another event that's going
That
on.
we're nominated
which we're nominated for. So by the way, go
Get
click
your
the link in
votes.
our bio. Effing vote for us, because if you're not gonna vote for us, stop saying you fuck with us, because god damn it.
I don't think you can tell people that.
He's going to have many, many loss of followers.
Yeah, I don't think you can
Yeah,
tell
you
people
don't
to
want-
vote. Like,
You can't do that.
We
that's
can't tell people.
forcing- I think that's forcing people to vote for you. Or something.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, yo, if you really fuck with us,
He takes
get
it
on
back.
the
He
computer
takes it
and
back.
vote.
No, you didn't say that.
Yeah,
He
if you fuck with us, get on the computer and vote. People are like, nah, everyone else is gonna vote. They don't need mine. No, we need your vote.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, we're trying.
Let's
to
go,
win.
man.
We want a fancy clear plaque like Kyle Moon.
Yeah, we want to rub it in Kyle's face. Shout out Kyle. If you haven't seen last week's episode, scroll back on the fucking feed and check out the
Very
episode with Kyle.
informative.
Yeah, it was a nice time to chill with the homie.
Obviously, he doesn't smoke. Like
We forgot
you-
hemp at home,
You
so
guys do.
we weren't able to smoke
which is
him
a
out.
pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for
finally.
smoking with us.
Absolutely. That's,
No, thanks.
Some people
I
don't.
thought seriously stoned was, serious.
Yeah,
I'm glad you guys had us out.
we're
Oh, yeah, thank you for
contemplating.
inviting us here.
This is your third time on here.
Second.
Third.
Second.
Well,
Oh yeah. Sailor came on.
Yeah.
Again.
We're contemplating doing like a Weed Olympics. With like, you can apply to be a contestant on the recording of the Weed Olympics episode. So keep an eye out for that. We've been in the discussion phases of that,
That's awesome. I want to be there.
and
You have to try out.
we were also discussing with
Baby lungs.
maybe doing like a live record, like a live studio audience episode with like.
I was going to do a
actually
blunt
having
rolling
People
contest.
come get seriously stoned with us, watch the episode record with the guest,
You lose.
do a Q&A type of thing like that. So definitely stay tuned to see what we got up our sleeves, because
Awesome. And one more
we're
thing.
not all
We're
business.
curious.
I was just about to say, we are not all business. We are about the culture in all of its senses. So we have an event coming up.
Definitely.
So if you've talked to Kai or I, you have probably had a conversation or endured a conversation about Disney.
Oh god.
Yeah, I know it. Here we go. So we are.
I look at my smile went
That's-
ear to ear. I love Disney.
So we
You
are
all know
true
that.
hardcore Disney fans. and
Definitely.
That's part of what brought us together.
Yep.
And we're going to take that and give that back to share with you guys. We hope to see you at the Summit Lounge.
Nice.
Connecting back with Kyle on April 4th for Magical Nights, the first of our Disney
Bring your
events
ears.
at
We're
the
gonna
lounge.
have raffles. It's gonna be
Absolutely.
You guys have a brick there? Either of you?
no.
Oh, that's weird.
Just
I'm not even that big of a Disney fan, but I have a brick there. That's forever.
Oh, a brick.
A brick.
Oh, I thought.
Oh, a brick.
Flexing at Epcot.
No, listen, my
He's got an
sister,
Epcot brick.
my sister has one, and they go visit it too. I know, and I don't have a brick. I have
He's just
other
flexing.
cred. I have
Tell
other
him
street
flexing.
cred, but like,
We're gonna get the Disney mansion.
I heard that there's
Yes.
some,
At least
like,
rent it for.
I was
a week.
watching a little show the other day on this guy that was doing like behind the scene Disney stuff that like, so there's like this restaurant that you can rent out, but it's like $21,000.
I could see why.
I could see that, yeah.
I mean, it's
It's for 15 people,
Rack
so
up,
a little bit
son.
over
That ain't
$1,000
bad.
a person.
Let's get it.
And you go up. It's next to a ride, like a Cinderella or something, and you go up these stairs, and there's like a private restaurant.
Is it
there.
like a tower? Like, is it to have little?
It just says 33 or something. It's just a
Oh,
number.
okay, yes. So that is a whole other thing. So
that's the secret club.
Yes, that's the secret club, and they just opened it. Did they just open it in Florida?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
don't
was
know much
thinking.
about
And
it.
it's
It's
gonna-
a secret.
Yeah. So Disney has like a
Cult.
Yes, there's a whole thing. So if you go to Original Disneyland, there's and you're in like the New Orleans Square area, tucked in a little corner. There's a little sign says 33. That's like a membership club, and like there's a wait list, and like maybe your great
Gotta be
grandkids will
voted
get in.
in.
But they finally opened one in Florida, and there's money involved and a lot of waiting, and you can imagine.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
It's almost like the application process. with the
Yes.
secret.
So look, cannabis or Disney, you can't do both, for sure.
But
So
then there was another private club thing that it said there too as well.
yeah, I
That's-
believe it.
Yeah. it's-
There's a whole like residential neighborhood now
Oh, yeah.
attached to it, where you can, if you live there, you
It's
get
like
a pass
Stepford
and you can
Wives
go to
type
like
shit.
eat every night at Epcot.
Oh,
kinda
it's
thing.
insane. It's insane.
Four Seasons is there
It's-
because of that.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy, and that's you have a.
I do have to
special
give it to
backdoor
them that
entrance
their service for
to
like
do
at
that.
their,
Life
You just go
goals.
for dinner. No lines, no nothing.
I have to give it to them like at their restaurants, their service and chefs
Everything
and everything
is
is top notch.
Well, there's a whole thing, right? So Disney customer service training is like serious.
Insane.
That's
I was gonna do the college program. I had at the time when I was
My
looking
daughter
to-
wants to.
When I was looking to apply at the time, I had one tattoo, and they were like, "Nope, no way." I was like, "Oh, you can't even see it," and they're like, "No way." I'm like, seriously?
You would have been an incredible Prince Charming.
They're fucking great, dude.
Incredible. Seriously.
But you know,
That
they
is.
make no money though. They make no money.
No, I had a friend who did end up going, and he effing hated his life.
That's right.
They worked him.
It was for the
like
experience.
nothing.
It's for the
Well, so the
experience.
intern program, like at least you're getting like the college intern
Free
program,
season
like.
pass.
But if you're doing even like face characters, I didn't know this, but if you so this was like a long time ago, but still, in like '99-ish, they were making like $7, $7.25 an hour.
Holy shit.
To stand in
To
those
be-
costumes.
I think
Yes.
in '99.
Yeah, I don't even like
was
the
making
heat and
like
shorts and a
12,
tank
15 an
top.
hour.
Yeah, so just imagine that for a second. Like
I
when you
go-
think about who's on the other side, like
Excuse
they're
my
not.
language, but I go tits up when it gets over 80 degrees.
I can't take this motherfucker anywhere.
I can't imagine being inside of a stuffed costume.
In 100 degrees and
Yeah.
Fun fact: I was
humidity.
Chucky at Chuck E. Cheese for like
Really?
Shut the
2
fuck up,
days.
no way.
Yeah, I
It's
sucked
funny?
at it. I sucked at it. I hate.
You were probably punching kids and shit.
I did, like,
Smoking weed in the corner. Chucky, stop! Put the bong
Chucky
down.
smells
Speaking
like
of
a
that age
skunk,
limit.
Mom.
Speaking of the age limit,
Well, I think on that note, we'll probably leave it at Kiowa's Chuck.
Chuck E. Cheese, but get at us.
you get at
yeah,
us if
where
you
can
would
we
like
find
to.
you?
If you'd like to follow up with us, obviously, if you run into either one of us, Kaya Esmoky, ESMOHQUI on Instagram, DM me please, or give us a ring at 617-420-3030. Talk to you for 30 minutes. Get things done for $30. Let's talk.
Definitely do it.
It's worth your $30 for sure.
Hell yeah, and don't forget to fucking like, subscribe, share the YouTube, the iTunes
Vote.
podcast, vote for us, the whole nine.
Anytime.
Anything you can do to show us love, it helps. Even if you can just comment on the
Definitely.
podcast posts on the fucking Instagram, every little bit helps. And that goes for the same for any friend of yours that owns a business or any type of venture. Just show
Hey.
love. You can literally show love for free.
Thanks for
Kyle
having
Lee's
us
hot
out.
dog hot dog emojis on my shit. That's how he shows love.
Just so everybody knows, he still sucks at rolling blunts.
Still sucks.
Even after all this criticism. I mean,
you think he'd learn? You think he'd say, "Hey guys, you think you can help me out?"
I think he does it. I think he does it to spite us. He makes them shittier every time.
I got an enchilada for you, buds. All right, on that, I think we just leave it at that.
We're gonna leave it at that.
Enchiladas.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Enchiladas.